Ooh, what's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm CLAROOS.
And this is the Nightly Morning Show, because we get nerdy nightly.
And we thought we'd share it with you.
Oh no, our opening title isn't. There it goes. Fantastic. You love that.
I like this.
Oh, a little, yeah. I'm working on some graphics. I'm working on getting better.
It's a nice little addition. I'm into it.
This stuff is probably going to change every week as I learn new skills in Photoshop.
Yeah. We're just going to, play around with some things, decide what we like,
Yeah, welcome to the Nightly Morning Show, our weekly podcast where we talk about nerd news and the world of shenanigans. We start every week with the same question, my favorite question to ask. CLAROOS, how you doing?
The government tried to send kids back to school, and Mother Nature went, absolutely not.
Yeah,
it's
snow day.
There's 4 feet of snow out there.
It's crazy. Yesterday there was no snow on the ground, and then at about 7 o'clock last night it started
dinner
snowing.
Time. Yeah.
And now we can't move our car.
Yeah.
Because we have a little car.
She's
little. Yeah.
The Lady Jon Snow is dainty.
The Lady Jon Snow is dainty, and there's only so much she can do. And unfortunately, our parking lot, not one of those things she can get out of.
No. She's great to squeeze into tight spaces, but now she's stuck. So
for those of you who have never lived where there's blizzards, what happens is that the wind pushes the snow as it lands.
Yeah.
And so I actually had a hard time opening our door to our backyard today because it's not that the snow is so deep everywhere, but it banks up against the wall.
Yeah.
And so I had to literally, I'm 6'4", I'm well over 200 pounds. I had to put my shoulder into the door and push the snow out in order to try and go outside today, and then I just gave up.
Yeah. It's something.
Wheel Up Time wonders if we're going to bring up Wheel of Time. Probably.
Now we're not.
Yeah, no more. Because you said that. Book club's canceled.
I just want to say good morning to Thanis, Blue, Rhiannon, Frank, and Wheel of Time. Hello, friends.
Yeah, Rhiannon says the Lady Jon Snow. Yeah, that's the name of our car.
That's what we named our car.
Because she's got plot armor.
Yeah. The strongest of plot armor. How are you doing this morning?
You know what? I'm good. I feel like we had a good weekend. I had another wipe in my nerdy lock yesterday, which was a little tough. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to play Pokemon again until Sunday because I need a break after that one. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be playing some Guardians of the Galaxy on stream this week, so I'm very excited for that. Mm-hmm. The football playoffs have been poor. They've been poor. I think, not to get too into sports, I know that this is not a sports podcast, but if for any of my fellow sports fans, I just want to say the addition of the 7th playoff team in each division has been pretty disastrous so far. It just has. Basically, this season, for the first time in a while, the NFL changed the playoff format, and so they added a team, so more teams get to go to the playoffs each year, but...
So they just made up a team for this year?
No. Same number of teams at the beginning of the season. They added a team to the playoffs on each side. So more teams made the playoffs this year. Unfortunately, that meant that 2 teams made the playoffs that would not have made the playoffs last year, and both of those teams got absolutely destroyed in very boring games.
Gotcha.
And so I think that it is. I think it's a poor choice. I think that if you're an 8-8 team, I shouldn't have to watch you get your ass handed to you on national television. But Frankenbeans brings up a great point that tonight, during the NFL playoffs, during the Cardinals and the Rams game, we're going to be getting a Moon Knight trailer.
Mm-hmm, which I have no idea what to expect out of this one.
Me too. Well, because we got that teaser a while ago, and it was surprising to me how dark it was for Disney Plus.
Yeah. I guess they're gonna lean into more of that, which is I'm interested, but also is it just gonna fall short because they can't take it all the way? I don't know.
Yeah, I do wonder, at what point Disney Plus is going to have to open up the content settings a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they're pushing the boundaries already with shows like, even like Mandalorian has some darker, more adult stuff in it. But if we're going to get a Mandalorian war with Bo-Katan and, moving forward in that series, I think that there is definitely some, and we're going to be talking about Boba Fett later in the show and some of the backlash to the last episode and how the cast responded to it. But I think that there is definitely a section of the audience that is looking at Boba Fett and going like, why is my bounty hunter show so clean?
Yeah.
And I think that, Disney wants to make this content in these universes that have pre-existing expectations, and they are putting a filter on those expectations that I think is leaving some fans dissatisfied. I have to agree with that. And Stefania says Moon Knight kind of needs to be R-rated, and from what I understand of the character, I agree. You can't really do like a kid-friendly version because it's not kid-friendly. That's not the story. And what's the point?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what is the point of diluting that character down to a kid-friendly version? What kind of show are you making at that point?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, I love Oscar Isaac. I think Moon Knight is an uphill battle for Disney. Moon Knight is conversations about mental health that can be a little weird. Dissociative identity disorder is one of those things that was such an easy thing to just kind of use in early comics when we didn't really understand much about the disorder. But I personally think that characters like Moon Knight and things like that created a stigma around those conditions. Those very real conditions that people have.
Yeah.
And I think that Moon Knight, being a live action representation of that, is going to have to be very careful about how it portrays DID and how it either adds to or normalizes the stigma around the conditions.
Yeah.
And I think that is an uphill battle. I think that maybe they have it in them, but while taking a character that has DID but is also hyper violent in some of his altered states, like that's really tough. I think that something like Doom Patrol did such a good job of portraying a interesting and healthy relationship with DID where that character, is it Alice? I think I have the name wrong. But that character has a really... They really made a storyline out of her coming to terms with her mental health and about trying to find a better version of mental health for her. And I think that benefited that character and stayed away from some of the controversy.
Right.
I hope that this show has that same, has that same amount of thought and care behind it.
Yeah, for sure. Jane, apparently.
Jane, thank you.
Yeah.
Although she's called Crazy Jane in the comics, which is like...
One of the other Twilight characters. It's fine. You said Alice.
Yeah. I was watching a TikTok that had the baseball scene from Twilight in it today. And I always forget how good that baseball scene is. Like, it's so funny.
That one was,
It's comedically brilliant. How just all of it. I was like, it's...
Twilight had its moments. It had its moments.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it parodies itself while it's going, and it's amazing. It's so good. My favorite is the bat flip. Anyway.
Oh, God.
Go watch Twilight.
Or don't.
Or don't.
You really don't need to.
Have you seen Twilight since it was in theaters?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, the last one I watched was like opening night of Breaking Dawn Part 2, and then I've never seen them again.
No, I think I went back and watched them all.
You did a rewatch?
Yeah, because I was like, actually, you know what? I only watched the first 3 and then I gave up. But I was like, I can't. I was like, why did I enjoy these?
I can't say that I ever did. I loved going high to see the movies on opening night.
That's fair.
Yeah, me and my friends would go, and we would take the piss out of them. And one of the most I think I've said this actually in a morning show before, but one of the most horrifying experiences of my life was actually watching a Twilight movie, because I was Breaking Dawn Part 2. I'm going to spoil it because I genuinely
Spoiler alert.
Don't care. Breaking Dawn Part 2 has this sequence where the vampires fight the evil vampires from Italy.
Yeah.
The Volturi, I think.
The Volturi, yeah.
And so there's this giant fight sequence, and characters are getting their heads ripped off.
Yeah.
And me and my friend Beth are sitting there baked, as we are surrounded on all sides by teenage girls who are absolutely screaming and cheering on the deaths of all of these adult humans. As they're, and I was listening to the sounds of like teenage girl joy while watching like famous actors get beheaded. And I was just sitting there like, this is hell. This is a nightmare. And yeah, I've never been more scared in my entire life. I was like, if they find out that a man is here, I feel like they're going to rip my head off.
I am so high and this is a nightmare.
Yes, 100%. That was 100% my experience.
I'm so sorry.
It was the only time Twilight ever veered into a horror, and it was mostly because of the drugs.
I don't know,
that I was
that
on.
baby was pretty scary.
The baby is bad, right?
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Anyways, sorry,
Not
I
as
got
bad
distracted.
as I found out Taylor Lautner, not indigenous. He's just a white dude. Yeah. Didn't know that when I was watching those movies.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, maybe he's a little bit, but and maybe I shouldn't get all my information from TikTok, but I am under the impression that Taylor Lautner is just a white dude.
That's from TikTok? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it could be true. Oh god. Okay. Anyways, the news.
The news. Should we get into it?
Yes.
Where should we? Oh nope. Where should we start today?
Nailed it. We're crushing it. Let's start.
Our stream deck is broken, so I have to do all of this with our mouse, which means it's touch and go.
It's not broken. We just have to reinstall. It's fine. It's fine.
It's broken. All right. Let's get going with a quick dose of. Let's just get into that Boba Fett controversy. Can't speak today or any day. The Boba Fett cast was asked about some of the backlash to that latest episode because the Scooter Gang.
That was the backlash they were asked about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what backlash did you think they'd be asked about?
The just murdering off the representation of the indigenous people of Tatooine?
Okay, fair. No, they didn't talk about that one.
I would think that would be more important than some rainbow bikes, but okay.
The cast of Boba Fett has been talking a lot. They've been talking a lot.
Okay.
Tamara Morrison, babe.
I'm sorry.
Baby, let me check.
Wait, no, that's yours. That's not mine. Mine's off. That's you.
Me.
That's you.
That's me.
It's not me.
Tamara Morrison previously made a comment about how Boba Fett talks too much in the show.
Boba Fett talks too much. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Boba Fett said that Boba Fett talks too much. He was like, I think I talk too much in
this.
this.
If they could give me less lines to memorize, that would be great.
Yeah, it's that. But he was like, there was one day where Jon Favreau was flying to Atlanta, I think he says. And I was like, can we just since Jon's not here, can we just can we cut these lines? And apparently he got a phone call from Jon Favreau who was like, no, you have to say those lines. Because they're watching.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so, when asked about the bikers in episode 3 of Boba Fett, Tamara Morrison responded with, some of these things are out of our control. We can't say as performers, we don't want to work with these people. That's not good enough. They brought a lot of color to it. I thought they were great. We're working hard. Which isn't exactly like a ringing endorsement of the people you work with.
That's like the worst thing you possibly could have said. It's not like, yeah, the characters were an interesting choice, but hey, we're all having a good time on set. It's like, well, you don't get to choose your family, basically.
Yeah, Ming-Na Wen went on to add, Ming-Na Wen kind of saved it, I think, going, this is a real homage to the things creator George Lucas always loved, whether it was the mods in the 60s or Lucas's hot rod film American Graffiti. I'm pulling this from the Hollywood Reporter. At the same time, it lends itself to learning more about Tatooine, and Sophie was a lovely human being, and I definitely enjoyed getting to know her. So, I think Ming-Na Wen's comment definitely makes it a little bit softer, right? But, yeah, Tamara Morrison is very much not pulling punches about the show that he's on.
Yeah, he does not give a damn. Cool. I am very surprised. Yeah, I'm really surprised because I think that at least the first 2 episodes were really good and touched on some, I think, different things for Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Right? This doesn't feel like this feels like it has its own unique tone. I don't want to say it's completely unique. Obviously, it's pulling from a lot of things in its Tatooine. It's a lot of things we have seen before, but the more like political struggle storyline, I feel like is less common in Star Wars as like the main plot line. You know, obviously in the prequels, there's the thing with the Senate, and there's just kind of like this one line, but it's less.
I mean, there's a lot of politics in the prequels.
Yeah, but it's convoluted.
Not personal politics. It's like politics, as opposed to like this is very much like interpersonal politics of like a small crime family.
Yeah. And so from that aspect, I actually thought it was really interesting and unique. But then episode 3 was definitely a letdown, and I don't know, it's this interview to me does not bode well for the rest of the season.
Depending on how much those Vespas are in it.
Well,
because I went back and watched them, and they don't move right. I was watching. I think it was. I was watching. Star Wars Explained was doing a video, and I was watching their video about them. And Molly from Star Wars, I hope I'm quoting her right, because it might have been someone else, but she said that it looked like they were on a like amusement park ride.
Like you go to the mall and you put your kid on the like.
No, like the actual amusement park rides at Disney. Like it looks like the way they moved looks like they were on tracks, like an amusement park ride.
Interesting.
And I do agree with that. Like I think that I went back and watched the sequence again yesterday, and the chasing it's just a bad introduction for those characters.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's laughable. There's one moment where the guy has like a lighter come out of his arm, and he starts to like try and like heat up the I don't know what was happening.
I don't know.
But it doesn't, you introduce these really colorful characters. If you do that and you make it epic and amazing, and there's no complaints.
Well, and they're also not interesting because they just trust Boba Fett right away. Yeah, we're willing to die for this person who like gave us a job.
And I think that the fan, I don't think it's, I have Backlash on the screen because it's clicky and whatever. I don't think that this is about Backlash. I think this is about the quality of the first 2 episodes is not the same as the quality of the 3rd episode. It is a different quality of episode of television. And
even those 3 are not the same quality that The Mandalorian was. You know, it set a high bar. For sure. Inglaterra, I just want to say thank you so much for stopping by. We've been loving the book club, and we're glad you're enjoying our content.
Yeah, thank you. Rockmage did bring up something a little bit back I do want to address. They said, do you not think Indigenous people get murdered, though? It's not about whether or not Indigenous people get murdered. It is about a specific storytelling trope of killing the tribe of Indigenous people that trained the outsider savior character so that he has a motivation to continue. And it's usually a he. And this is, it was done off screen. It was purely to motivate Boba Fett. And it took away the agency and the intrigue of a group of characters that looked like they were going to be the main characters of the season because based on the way they were handled in the first 2 episodes. And to have them just unceremoniously disposed of off screen felt like a slight after the way that they were handled in the first 2 episodes, and leans into a trope in storytelling that has gone, that just happens so often, particularly around Indigenous, and obviously the actors playing the Sand people were mostly white, but the Indigenous coded characters of the Sand people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a reasonable backlash. I
think Disney handled that one poorly.
Well, I just... It gets down to what is the show about. Yeah. Because at the end of episode 2, I was like, there's a weird mix of flashbacks and present time, but the flashback stuff is fascinating, and the Tusken Raider culture is fascinating. And there was so much about it that I really loved. Episode 3 then undid so much of what I was excited about in the show. In taking away the Tusken Raiders and in taking away the Hutts as the antagonists and replacing them with the Pikes, who could have just been the antagonists at the end of episode 2, and we could have just skipped all of episode 3. Yeah. And that ultimately is how I feel, is like, we could have skipped episode 3. Yeah. Nothing happens in it except that the Pikes, who we know are going to be antagonists in the series because of episode 2, like, we just got a bunch of information we already knew. The only thing we got was the high point of the episode, which is Danny Trejo and the Rancor, which is awesome. Yeah. But I think that there is a general consensus among the fans who have hated Boba Fett since the beginning because that he's not murdery enough. Yeah. And the fans who did like it, I think everyone kind of came together on this episode and be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I think with good reason. It's, hasn't been my favorite, unfortunately. But
Yeah. But there's a new episode this week, and we'll see where they go with that. And then we'll see what Tamara Morrison says about it afterwards.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Let's move on to the other side of the nostalgia content coin, which is DC Comics. Because we're getting a new DC show on the CW? ? That's right. David Ramsey is going to be returning to the CW to play John Diggle, the sidekick of Arrow, and long-running anchor who kept that show going for some of those years. He's going to be returning after his stint of directing episodes of the other shows on the CW. He's going to be returning as the character to lead a new show called Justice U, a story where he trains 6 young up-and-coming superheroes to take the fight for justice in the future.
I was like, is this like a... I saw Justice U and I was like, is this like when they remade the Wii into the Wii U?
Like, it is the Wii U version of the Justice League.
Yeah, yeah. Where it's like not like that much better, but it's got like the cool little gimmicky pad thing.
And great games. The Wii U had great games
that
true. You fell in love with when you played them on the Nintendo Switch. So let's I know that you're not the biggest fan of the CW superhero shows, but I want to talk about this for a lot of reasons, because there's a lot of questions I have here. And the first one, obviously, is what is this going to happen? Because is the CW going to exist?
Well, you said that they're being bought, right?
They're currently trying to sell the CW to a company called Nexstar, which wants the CW, and this is going to get in the weeds a little bit, but Nexstar is a political-minded television station owner who wants the CW to own stations in battleground states so that they can make money from political ads during midterms.
Oh.
People are anticipating that the 2022 midterms in the United States are going to be the most financially lucrative midterms of all time, and that the money coming in for the midterm elections is going to be similar to that of the 2020 presidential election.
Wait, you mean for the television companies? They're going to get a crazy amount of money.
So the CW owns local stations. Uh-huh. And so the CW owns local stations in certain markets. I'm sorry if this is so in the weeds, but it is important to understand why the CW is being sold and who its potential buyer is and why they want to buy it. Mm-hmm. The CW owns stations that broadcast in local districts in the United States that have to do with the upcoming midterm elections. And so the midterm elections are going to have very expensive ads being run 24/7. And having local stations like the CW is going to potentially be big money for these midterms. And so Nexstar wants to buy the CW, cannibalize it, probably get rid of all original expensive programming, and just run reruns like TV Land, or I think UPN does that now, and run political ads on a local station throughout the 2022 midterms.
Damn, that's unfortunate.
Yes. This is tough because there's a lot to love about the CW, and there's a lot of current stuff on the CW, including my best friend's television show, that we're hoping he gets a second season of. So that he can be famous, so then I can be famous by association. Obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
And so I don't want, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn by saying this, but he's worried, and his, he and his cast are talking about, will there even be a CW for them to have a second season on? Right? And so
I don't know. That's wild.
This is a big announcement. Dave Ramsey's coming back. We're making Justice U. Is there going to be a network for this to air on?
I think that they wouldn't be bothering to announce new content with names on it if it wasn't gonna pull through for at least a little bit.
The people running the network are not the people in charge of selling the network. They have to continue to do their job as if the network is going to exist. But if they're sold, that next company can pull that plug as fast as they want.
Yeah, I guess so. Wow.
Sorry, I'm not trying to make this dark. I just
No.
you know,
That's just like very unfortunate.
I also think that this is an unfortunate show concept right now, because The Boys is about to do it too.
The Boys is about to do what?
We covered this on the morning show like months ago, that The Boys is doing a spin-off about the university for superheroes in that universe, and the superheroes are going to compete for the contracts in various cities in the United States.
Okay, but The Boys is going to do it much darker.
The Boys is going to do it with more money.
Yeah.
It is tough to be, and this isn't a comment on like John Diggle or the CW. It's a comment on The Boys is about to spend a lot of money on that show.
Yeah.
Amazon is going to spend more money than the CW will, and to be the less expensive version of this exact same show that goes up at the same time is a tough prospect.
This does not bode well.
It's a tough prospect, because you're going to have those conversations of like, oh yeah, it's like the CW version of The Boys. And that's not, you know.
Yeah, no, that's... I wasn't really that worried, and now I'm very worried.
It's just interesting. I think that this show has a really big uphill climb ahead of it if it wants to succeed, especially after Naomi, the new CW superhero show, premiered this past week to mixed to negative reviews and only 800,000 viewers. Like, if you had told me when this show was announced that an Ava DuVernay produced television show would premiere to less than 1 million viewers, like, the CW's in trouble. It's clearly in trouble. If Ava DuVernay's name can't pull people in to watch a show, like, Ava DuVernay is one of the most like underrated filmmakers right now. Yeah. She is remarkable. Yeah. And granted, you know, it's still a CW superhero show. I haven't seen the episode yet because we don't have access to it where we live. But it's tough. It's really, really tough to imagine that the CW is going to be able to pump out these expensive and I mean expensive, but, you know, CW expensive, if the viewership isn't there for the brand new shows.
So do you think that the shows that are on the CW right now that have a decent viewership, you know, like they're...
None of them really do, but yeah.
Okay. So they're better shows anyways. Do you think there's a possibility that this company buys the CW and then sells the rights to those shows for someone else to continue?
I mean, the problem is that HBO Max would be the only place they could go because no one... DC won't allow anyone... Is our light flickering? Yeah. That's weird.
Yeah, I know.
Huh.
Time for new lights.
Always. HBO Max wouldn't put these shows on its air. The only one that I think HBO Max would take is Superman and Lois. Batwoman, I can't imagine they keep making Batwoman. Its viewership is already really bad. A mess. The Flash is basically done. I think that this season will probably end The Flash. Yeah.
And what about the 4400? Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not sure what their viewership is like. So
honestly, with the talent of the cast in the 4400, I feel like they would benefit from being put on HBO Max and having some of the content restrictions taken off. You know, the 4400 is a very racially motivated show. They are very civil rights motivated, and they have a lot that I think that the creators and the writers of that show want to say about the current state of racial dynamics in the United States. And I think that they could better have that conversation if they could maybe go a little bit further and push the envelope more. Right. I think that they have an incredible group of people working on that show, and I'm not just saying that because one of them is my best friend. I really do. I think that that show could really benefit from HBO Max taking it and saying, "Hey, make this a landmark. Like, put that time in, put that effort in." I think that they have the building blocks to do that. I think the thing that hampers the 4400 is the CW, right? Right. And that budget. It's tough. It's a tough network to work on. Yeah. It's a tough network to have nice sets on and stuff like that. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Paramount. Someone Rockmate brought up Paramount. Paramount can't produce the DC stuff, but something like 4400, which is like a CW show, not necessarily like a DC comic show, could move over. I think that Riverdale could go somewhere else. I could honestly Riverdale.
Can it end?
Well, but there's like 3 spinoffs now, right? Because isn't there like Kate Keene or something? And
why?
I don't know.
It's so bad.
Wait, have you never felt the epic highs and lows of high school football?
What?
Have you ever never seen that scene?
I might have. I watched Riverdale season 1 only because everybody in my cast was watching it and I had serious FOMO and I couldn't do it anymore. I tried watching episode 1 of season 2 and I was like, I'm out. I'm out.
I think that shows like Riverdale could end up on Netflix. I could easily see Netflix producing Riverdale. They already produced The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, although that has been canceled. So,
right.
It really depends on what the source of the show is. Mm-hmm. But it would be tough to it would be tough to justify moving something like Batwoman over where its viewership is already not very good.
Yeah.
Superman and Lois though is already partially produced by HBO Max, so they boosted the CW budget for Superman and Lois using HBO Max, so I could see HBO Max being the home of Superman and Lois for sure.
Okay, that's fair. Oh man, I did not realize that this like buying. I didn't realize all the like undertones to the CW being bought. So that was a surprise for me.
Yeah, it gets political. Well, and Nextstar's not even hiding that. Like in their statements about it, they're like, yeah, we think that the 2022 midterms are going to be big money.
Yeah,
and they're probably right.
Yeah.
You know, we're in for a contentious year of political ads.
Big oof.
And these midterms are going to be wild. And I think that for the networks that can turn that into profit after a couple of years of tough ratings and, you know, the TV is dying, but political ads and sports are going to keep them going a little bit longer than they should. Yeah,
seriously. Do we have any happy news?
Do we have any happy news? Yes. Yes. Let's get into... Is that going to go? Let's get into the weekend box office.
Okay.
Because we had... an interesting development. Spider-Man is no longer the top movie at the box office.
What?
Yes, that is right. Let's pull up our little... I made the graphic this week, y'all, so let's look at it. Scream 5 has come in with $30.6 million in the 3-day. Obviously, today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, so today is a holiday in the United States. Those numbers might go up for the 4-day, but this is our... we're looking at the 3-day here. Spider-Man No Way Home still going strong at $20.8 million. And behind that, it's a pretty significant jump to the next one. Sing 2 is at $8.2 million. The 355 sits at 2.34, and just behind it, it almost looked like Kingsman was going to win this weekend, but it sits at 2.31. As you can tell, there's a pretty significant difference in how much all of those have made internationally, with Spider-Man sitting at $1.62 billion.
Jesus Christ.
And no one else cracking $250 million. Although Sing 2 is doing pretty well for a kids movie at the moment. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about this. There's a bunch to talk about here, but I think the big thing is that Scream 5 has actually done really, 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 really well.
But all things considered,
I would have been there opening night, but movie theaters are closed here, and there are other places in North America where movie theaters are closed. Mm-hmm. So $30.6 million is pretty incredible.
Yeah. I was not expecting that at all, to be honest. And the fact that they can't even open everywhere, like, good for them, you know? Good for them. I'm happy.
The other interesting news, Spider-Man No Way Home only dropped 36% in its 5th weekend. Damn. So Spider-Man No Way Home, despite theater closures, still making money hand over fist. Sing 2 only dropped 28.7%, which is really good for that movie. Sing 2 has $119 million domestically, so it did manage to cross that $100 million mark domestically. Mm-hmm. The 355 is probably the biggest disappointment here, right?
Which one is that again?
It's that all-female spy movie where each of the women are from a different country. So there's like the British one and the American one and the...
We reacted to that trailer.
We did do a trailer reaction, yeah.
But I have not seen that trailer since.
No, and the reviews were not very good. And I think that it opened 2 weeks ago. I think it opened like right when everyone first freaked out about Omicron.
Yeah.
And so between mostly like negative reviews and... I was like couching that as if I was like I didn't want to hurt their feelings, but like
they'll survive.
The reviews exist. It's just a fact. So it just I think it hit at the wrong time and didn't hit audiences the way that I think they wanted it to, considering how stacked that cast is.
Yeah.
I mean, Lupita Nyong'o alone is just one of the finest actresses of our time.
Seriously.
The King's Man is doing all right. It's almost at $30 million. It's not great, but it only dropped 28% this week, so people are still going to go see that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, those are kind of the big stories. Not a lot of money being made by Oscar winners this year because of the Omicron surges.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Typically, something like West Side Story only at $33 million for its entire run.
Mm-hmm.
Matrix Resurrections only hit 35. Ghostbusters Afterlife only hit 126 million, which sounds like a lot in pandemic times, but really isn't.
No.
And the thing that I'm so sad to see, Encanto only managed to hit $93 million. It didn't cross the 100 million mark.
I mean, and it won't now because it's on Disney Plus, right?
Yeah.
Like once they put it on Disney Plus, they kind of killed any like box office.
That is 100% true.
Yeah. That's too bad.
The one thing I did want to bring up, Licorice Pizza, despite all the controversy, is still making a little bit of money here and there. It pulled in another $883,000 and has $9.5 million for its run. That movie is a hot awards contender, and it's going to be really interesting to see if it manages to pull anything out, considering how uncomfy some people are about the plot of the film.
I don't actually know it, so.
Licorice Pizza is about a 15-year-old and a 25-year-old dating. A 15-year-old boy and a 25-year-old woman. It's about like a romantic relationship between, and it's set in like the 70s or 80s. I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, there's a section of people who are like, maybe no.
Yeah, maybe no, maybe not.
Rockmage wants to know about Croods 2. Unfortunately, Croods 2 has not been in theaters for like a year, so it's sad.
Oh god.
We still haven't seen it. We should watch that movie.
We should do like if it's on Prime, we should do a watch along.
That would be very funny.
Watch party of Croods 2. For those of you who are new to the morning show, we watched the Croods 2 as it conquered the box office for many, many weeks last year. It was a lot of fun.
Conquered?
Hey, it did great.
As it clung to life.
Considering it did better
than Tenet.
And that's what matters. That's what matters.
This is some deep morning show lore if you don't if you're not following along with what's going on right now. Lots of interesting stuff going on here. I think that Scream doing so well is, first of all, great because I am a huge fan of the Scream franchise and I hope that we keep getting movies from it, as long as those actors can want to continue playing those parts.
Never seen a Scream movie.
Yeah. Well, you don't like horror.
No.
But 30 million. I feel like I was worried that Omicron was going to kill this movie, and I'm so happy that it didn't fully. Yeah. It might long term, right? Like, yeah. I don't know if Scream will be able to get to that 100 million mark.
But there's a hope.
But there's a hope that the box office is not dead. Mm-hmm. And I need it to not be dead because I love going to the movies. Mm-hmm. And I really want Batman to come out in March.
Yeah. And Morbius to come out.
April. And Morbius was supposed to come out this Thursday.
I know. It's so sad.
I know. But we're still getting Pokemon Legends Arceus, which looks bad.
The graphics look bad, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. The concept of the game, I think it will be really fun.
I hope we love it. I really do.
Me too.
Y'all, it's time for everybody's favorite segment of the morning show. CLAROOS makes up the news.
Oh, God. Hi. It's CLAROOS. This one's not fake. This one's not fake because David confirmed it earlier in today's episode, actually.
What's not fake?
Well, there's a new football team.
Oh, there's a new football team.
There's a new football team that has been added because math, and sports and balls. And so there's a new football team. And this football team is specifically the Disney Orlando, Florida football team. It's really long to say, so it's Disney or DOF. It's the DOF team, and their mascot is a mouse. Super cute. It's a little too realistic. It's not like Mickey Mouse. You think, because it's Disney's official football team. But it's a little like weirdly like uncanny valley, especially when it's like 6 feet tall. So people are complaining about that. But they didn't do well. Surprisingly enough. They bought out a bunch of Canadian Football League players. And, and we tried our best. We tried our best.
So most American football teams have like a team chant or a team song. Can you give us that team? What do the audience chant? What is the big Doff Mouse chant that they do in the stands during the games?
So they went with this hyper realistic mouse, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right, and so the idea behind the DOF chant is that it's horribly intimidating, and so somebody in your row of the audience,
Sure.
someone in your row of the audience goes 1, 2, 3, and everyone goes Wee! All at the same time, and it's this like horrible sound in a stadium that just like echoes, right? Really throws people off their game. It's been proven very effective.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Who's the quarterback of the Doff team?
The quarterback is Wayne Gretzky. That's that you heard it here, folks. He's got fast feet and a great arm.
I almost just spit coffee all over you.
I'm really glad you didn't.
Can you imagine Wayne Gretzky? I'm like, look, the dude's the GOAT. He's the greatest hockey player of all time, but he's older now.
Uh-huh.
And that man behind a huddle would just crack me up. Oh my God.
He's doing his best. You know, they didn't get very far. But
oh my God. I just love the idea of 1, 2, 3.
It's very effective.
You miss 100% of the field goals you don't take. Nice, Fergus. I want to applaud you. That was the best improv you've ever done. That was the funniest. You've said some funny stuff before because it was so random, but that was like legitimately. That was so good. I want to commit. That was very well done.
The only part of that I had pre-planned was it was a new football team. Everything else just happened.
The 1, 2, 3 re thing. I don't. Maybe this is so condescending. I'm sorry if it is for me to just like compliment your joke, but like that's a very funny joke.
Thank you. I have been to 2 football games, so I definitely know what I'm talking about.
I love you so much.
I love you too.
You make it so easy to be in love with you. You're so amazing.
Oh,
all right, let's move on to the final segment of the show.
Somebody should let Wayne Gretzky know.
Yeah, someone should call him and let him know he has to play football this weekend.
He's in a different sport.
The final segment of the show is what did we miss? Because there wasn't a lot of news this week.
What? Yeah.
What did we miss?
What did we miss? Rockmage said earlier, it is Betty White's 100th birthday.
Oh, yeah, there's a special on NBC tonight. Right? NBC?
And apparently, people are encouraged to donate $5 to their local animal shelter or along those lines. I'm sorry, it's gone now, Rockmage. But I did clock that, and I did want to bring that up at the end. In honor of Betty White, who would have turned 100 years old today.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will definitely be giving to our local animal charity. Yeah. Especially in this snowstorm.
Oh my God, is it still snowing, do you think? Oh yeah, it's still going.
Yeah.
Still going.
I imagine days like today are tough for those animal charities. So definitely, if you have a love for Betty White, if you're a fan of the Golden Girls, Hot in Cleveland, the Muffin sketch from SNL that I will never forget because of how old and dusty her muffin is. Definitely check out that special tonight. It will be a lovely remembrance. I can't imagine that pivot that those producers had to make, where they made this 100th birthday, celebrating Betty at 100.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's like, ooh, no, this is a memorial.
Yeah. Oh, God. I'm sure it's going to be beautiful. You know,
I don't think it's going to be very sad.
No, I think Betty White had such an incredible life. You know, it is always sad when somebody passes, but someone who makes it all the way almost to 100 years of like and then such an epic scale. Like, and there's a lot to celebrate.
Lived a life of comedy, right? Like, I think that the wrong way to I was about to say you Googleize.
Eulogize?
Yeah, sorry. That Zoolander joke lives in my head rent-free. I think the wrong way to eulogize Betty White is to be sad. I think the right way is to remember that this woman gave us 100 years of joy. And I think that remembering her for the laughter is the best thing that we can do, because I think that's what she would have wanted. I think that's, I think she spent so much of her life bringing that into the world. And I'm going to try and laugh a little bit tonight. And maybe watch a Golden Girls episode, because Betty White is one of the goats of comedy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When I die, I would like a live stream compilation of every Make Up the News to run for 24 hours.
What on earth makes you think that I'm going to outlive you? You do yoga you're so healthy. I'm not.
My body is broken.
Yeah, but I like alcohol. That's the...
Yeah, and red wine makes you live longer.
Yeah, okay, fair.
Apparently.
Can we watch that online tomorrow? Eric, I'm so sorry, I don't have that information. But I'm sure it'll be on Hulu tomorrow. Frankenbean says we missed Arcane.
We didn't miss it.
We just haven't watched it.
We have not
yet.
at the time.
Also, Frankenbean did ask in our Discord. I just want to let people know we are going to have our spoiler chat for episode 2 and 3 of Peacemaker up tomorrow. We'll probably make that today, because now we have time, because we can't go anywhere.
Yeah, we were supposed to go out for some appointments this afternoon, but our car is under a pile of snow, so we're not going to be doing that.
I'm so glad I went grocery shopping. Because we were supposed to go grocery shopping today. And I was like, nah, I'll get it done early. Can you imagine? We'd be stuck without food.
We'd get, Instacart or something.
Who knows if they could get here?
That's true. That would be a nightmare.
Who knows when the plow is coming to our neighborhood?
I'm glad we have food.
It's just to spite you that she does yoga. No, it's definitely to my benefit.
Wow. Wow.
Samsung TV Plus will screen a 24-hour Betty White marathon today as well. Oh, very fun.
Oh, okay. That's really nice.
I love Betty White. I'm just going to go watch the Muffin sketch. It's so good. It's so funny.
I'm going to have to watch it, yeah.
Yeah, I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
Also, I need to show you the trials and tribulations, the highs and lows of high school football clip from Riverdale. It's one of the worst television writing moments of all time.
I mean, there's some pretty bad ones on Riverdale, so...
Oh, yeah. There's a I think it's the IMDb Boat interview of the cast from Comic-Con 2018 or 2019, where the cast openly is like, yeah, the writing on our show isn't very good.
Glowing recommendation right here, folks.
Oh, man.
It's like when they did all the interviews for Game of Thrones Season 8, and Emilia Clarke's like... and Tyrion was like, it was a lot of fun. Oh, God.
Yeah, Tyrion, there was a recent interview that came out where Peter Dinklage said that he felt relieved when Game of Thrones ended.
Yeah.
Which I can understand. Whether or not it's going well or not, right? The filming process of that show was a lot. And for so much of your life. Like, to not have to, be filming in the snow in Northern Ireland for 6 months of your year. I get that.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah. I guess that's the news.
That is the news. That's the nightly morning show. I guess it's time to get to the end of the show, which is where we tell you about other things that we do. One of those is the Nerdy Wordy Book Club, which is a show that we do where we read the Wheel of Time and we tell you our thoughts about it, and people go, no, you're so close, but you're not quite there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's probably my favorite part of my week at the moment. The book club has really been the joy of 2022 so far. So thank you to everyone who's been watching that. This week, Friday, 11 a.m., we are going to do the end of the Wheel of Time, Book 1, Eye of the World. We're going to get to that finale, and we're going to see, does it make sense? Because a lot of people say it doesn't.
Yeah. Great.
Clarus, you're going to be streaming later today, right?
Yeah, I am going to stream later today. I was going to change the time because now we're going to be home this afternoon, but I might get some other stuff done, and I think I'm going to stick to my original time slot. So I'll see you guys all tonight for more Witcher DLC.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, I'll be back on tomorrow. Going to be starting Guardians of the Galaxy on the PS5. Very excited to play that. You can follow that over at twitch.tv/nerdynightly and twitch.tv/Clarus Dracarys. Wait, I have a whole thing for this now. Look at it. Look, there's our ads.
Nice.
You can type those in the search bar basically anywhere, and you can find out what's going on in the world with us. Also, do something nerdy tonight. Bye, everybody.
Bye, friend.